Wonderful. Oh, thank you very much. Um,
He's all smiles today. I love it.
it's a good day. It's a great day. A lot of things happening right now. Isn't it interesting when you play the Hillary video with the fake voiceover and
Yeah.
so on and so forth? Yes, folks, that was fake. Please don't come at us and let us know. We know that. Um, that how great the technology is now to duplicate a voice. Now, interesting enough, do you remember a show called Mission Impossible back in the day? The
Hmm.
show,
The show,
not the
not the
movie.
movies, right?
So they showed technology at the time that could mask people,
Hmm.
right? And they had voice modulation. Well, back in the 70s, from some intel I actually have, let's just call it the agencies knew how to voice modulate, change somebody's voice. But they also, it says, if they go I believe it is 3 days hardcore training, they could virtually train anybody to mimic somebody's voice through training. So knowing that they can do that with all this technology, right? It's just more indication that there are the people playing parts that are not who we think they are. Now, interesting enough, Hillary does blame everything on climate change, right? But I was thinking about this. There was a specific climate change with inside the Oval Office where Bill Clinton decided to make a climate change from lesbian Hillary to Monica Lewinsky
I knew this was coming.
and her blue dress, right? So he did choose blue and as his new target per se.
Yeah, it's telling because I think it was I'm going to say 2015, 2016. I remember Adobe had demoed that, and they said all they need is 5 minutes of a person's voice, and you can make them say anything. And all you do is type it in, and the program spits it out. And they demoed it. They never released the software though, but they have it. Obviously, if they've got it, it's been around for a long time, right? So they demoed it there. It was just like, whoa! I looked at that and I say, well, you're never gonna ever believe the news again, right?
You
And
can't.
how hard is it? Of course, that clip that we played, the lip sync, was way off, and we know that they're just maybe somebody is doing a voiceover. Who knows how they did it? Doesn't really matter. But how hard would it be with CGI AI right now to be able to put words in a person's mouth and have the mouth be moving and animated to the correct tone, right?
It's done. They
Why
already
not?
have the
Yeah,
technology.
they do. I'm
They,
sure they do.
they do it today, which is good news for you tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists. You'll understand why there's a lot of people that we think are off the playing field that are um, actors and actresses and sports people and entertainers of all sorts, but you still see them
Right.
because between the amazing CGI, and by the way, I've seen a couple movies. It's very clear to me that the actor is in CGI, and I should have my tinfoil hat on. I'm just going to tell you guys, anything that The Rock's in is CGI. I know it's just so crazy. This tinfoil hat wearing weird conspiracy. We're supposed to be so pragmatic here, but guys, let's look at it. Rock doesn't look the same. My wife pointed out today that Beyonce's clearly different. Kim Kardashian is different. Gavin Newsom's a totally different cat. You have your Castro from Canada, which is a different dude. You have Joe Biden. There's at least four of him. There's a different Hillary Clinton, and yes, there's several different Trumps. I mean, this is just all reality, guys. So the fakery is at the maximum that you could possibly imagine. So it's we are in for fun times to watch. Very, very, very interesting.
It's fascinating to see too, how quickly the technology is being exposed to us. It's not that it's new; it's new to us, but it's not new. It's been around for a long time, and
Absolutely.
you're seeing actors now selling scans of themselves, right? So they license their likeness, their voice, to movies that can be made in the future, long after they're gone. It's
Yeah.
crazy. And
Yeah.
the thing is, right now, it's you can still tell when it's CGI, animated AI, whatever, but it won't be long. And I think Elon Musk was alluding to about 3 years from now, you'll never be able to tell. It'll be lifelike. It will be the same
Yeah.
as it was shot live.
I believe it.
Yeah.
It's so close right now. It's hard to tell in some cases. Bruce Willis is the known one guy that 100% the evidence is out there that he sold the voice to his likeness and rights away a couple of years ago. That's known, by the way.
Well, he can't speak anymore. He's got dementia or something going on with
Yeah.
him. That yeah, he's out of the
Well,
game now completely.
interesting enough. And so when I found that out, I decided to do some digging. And more than any A-list actor, he's done more movies in the last 2 years by triple than virtually any other A-list actor. Huh.
Wow.
Go figure. I wonder how that happens. And that's just a coincidence, right? So it's known that he sells his likeness and his voice, and he does 2 to 3 times more movies in the last couple of years than any other A-list
Yep.
actor. It's just a coincidence. It's when do we start really digging into this stuff and go, wow, this is crazy.
After we find out that he passed away and he's still putting movies out, then you gotta go, wait,
Yeah.
what?
Oh, wait, how'd that work?
Right now, you don't know Hollywood. They got a lot of tricks. I don't know. And by the way, that was an industry I was really passionate about in college. I've been on so many movie sets and television sets and all that kind of thing because that's my world. It was photography, video, cinema, communications, all of that. So yeah, I was very passionate about the trickery that they would be able to do. It was kind of fascinating. Old Montreal looks very European and is very cheap for movie companies to come there. So a lot of films that were filmed up there because it looked, why go to Europe if you go to Old Montreal instead?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so we had a lot of
Vancouver was a Hollywood. What is it? They call it mini Hollywood or something
yep,
for a while.
yep. So it just made a lot of sense. Let's talk about Rumble for a minute. We've had complaints of people saying the voice and the lips are out of sync, and we've had things like that, and audio going up and down, and all the rest of this. There was an interview this morning on Bannon's show. The CEO of Rumble, very quiet guy, doesn't do a whole lot of interviews, but he was interviewing him, and he's like, you guys are really great. What are you doing, and what's going on? And kind of told the whole story that in 2013 when they started, I didn't know they started that far back, but 2013 is when they started, and they were really focused on the creator and making sure the creator was properly funded because they looked at what YouTube was doing, and YouTube was swallowing the lion's share of the money and not giving enough to the creators. So they wanted to do the process a little bit differently. They did, and they've done a nice job of building their network. But what really happened, they took off in 2020 when the censorship started to happen. And they were a Canadian-based company, and they saw that, and they said, no, we don't agree with this at all. We're going to build a platform where you can speak your mind, you can say whatever it is you want to say, and they literally took off from there. And they went public, I think, about a year ago, and they had a $400 million injection of cash before that. Then they went public, and they've been building and building ever since. But what's interesting, friends, is that he says they are being attacked day and night, nonstop. So not just people going after their Media Matters and check my ads or check my there's another company that does this too, trying to dissuade advertisers from giving them money from running ads on the platform. So they're being attacked financially and they're being attacked technically. So they're on private servers. They're not on Amazon. They're not on Google. They have their own backbone. So much so that they are actually starting to sell web services in the same way Amazon's doing it, because they have so much capacity now. But, so where are the errors? Where are they coming from?
Okay.
Good question.
Yes, this is a great question. Here's the reality. So let's take it to the micro and then we'll go to the macro, right? From a micro standpoint, we know that during Truth Tour 2, the Truth Tour, Scrubigov, and Lewis Herms, if you put those on your channel, there was a 2 week period where you literally lost your channel virtually everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you name it, just by mentioning those names. So we understand the strategic attacks. We also had our admin section of our shopping cart broken into, and they flipped merchandise around. So if you spend a high dollar, you get something cheap. If you spend a little bit, then you get something high dollar, right? And we saw that they created over 100 different accounts.
Wow.
Created them. So we had to go in and manually delete them. And we have really good security. And our sites got hit. So that's the micro. And then you expand it to all the other patriots that we know have gotten their channels taken down, what's happening on Facebook, and so on and so forth. Um, Now, Robert and I are very concerned about the quality of, let's call it, product that we put out daily. So much so that we have offline contents where I'm very frustrated. And poor Robert gets working all weekend and all the time trying to find out where the issue is. Guys, currently everything's not, it's leading away from us and back to being the online platform. So then the question goes, is Rumble getting attacked all the time everywhere? I would say, because the bad guys are pretty smart, I would say they're not going to spend their resources just doing general attacks. I think they're going to send it on pointed attacks. So anything like our show, so let's pull ourselves out of this and say anything like our show is probably number one on the target list. Therefore, we'll continue to have problems. Here's the good news. And Robert, you probably saw more of this than I did. The CEO and Rumble says they're dedicated to fixing this and hammering down and doing everything they can. And publicly, I've stated many times, I still have a concern because they're on NASDAQ. That doesn't mean that every company that's on the stock market is bad, but I do know a couple things. I know the Fortune 1000 companies, most of them are bad guys. Just saying. And then I also know that when you tie your success to investors, you are locked in to do what they want often. So that's a concern of mine also, but it doesn't seem to be affecting Rumble when it comes to truth telling platforms as of yet. So that's good. But it's a concern, and it's something we should be aware about.
It's a concern, and Rumble, you know how the internet works. You're not connecting from your computer directly to Rumble. You're bouncing off dozens of computers, dozens of backbones, if you will, internet backbones before you hit Rumble. The question then becomes: is it being suppressed by the ISPs in between? Sometimes yes. Right? Is it an issue of bandwidth on your personal side, your internet connection? Is your ISP throttling Rumble IP addresses? You say, come on, they can't do that. Yeah, legally they can now. They can definitely do that. If you're going to Rumble and they see the IP address and it's associated with Rumble, they might slow you down where they might not do that if you're going to Google, for instance. So we see things like this happening. The internet, as we kind of take it for granted that it's really simple. I'm a guy who's been on the internet since 1987, if you can believe that. I've been online since 84. I've seen this thing. I've seen it grow. I've seen the complexities. I've seen the layers and layers of things that we've added to it and how we've built it. It is very, very complicated. So when you say, well, where's the issue? You know, sometimes we can buzz it. So if it's coming out of here, I can figure it out. If it's once the signal leaves my studio and goes out to Rumble, you know, it's bouncing off a bunch of servers before it gets to Rumble. Rumble gets it. They send it to servers around the nation, right? So you're connecting with servers that are closer to you. If you're in New York, for instance, you're not connecting to a server that's in California.
Mm-hmm.
Rumble's doing that on the backbone, and you're connecting to the servers that are there in New York, the data centers that are closer to you, or they call them edge servers is really the technical term for it. So it's very complicated. It's not a simplistic thing to understand. And you say, why aren't they building it out faster? Why aren't they building it out faster? Because it's massively complicated. And if they put something out into what they call production, into the live website, and it's wrong, it takes the whole site down. And we've seen that. We've seen Rumble go out a few times, right? There are a couple of times Lisa was like ready to set up the Rumble stream for the day and 500 error.
Yep.
Can't access the site. There's something wrong with it. So this is part of it. This is part of the game. I don't get upset about it. I don't pull my hair out. I don't have hair on fire about it. I realize where we are. It is an immature service. It will become mature at some point. We have to get through this. We have to continue this battle for our freedoms and our rights. These companies, as that's why I played that Donald Trump clip there at the beginning, because he's saying now that when he gets back in power, whenever that'll be, what he's going to do is get rid of all the censorship. Reinforce that fact that it's not legal for them to do that. right? So we're going to clean a lot of this stuff up, but we have to battle through it. And right now it's kind of muddy, right? So we take the good with the bad. It works as well as it works. We've got backup channels. We're streaming also on Clout Hub, and we're also streaming on Twitter as an example. And we're looking for other options. Some people mentioned Brighteon. Brighteon, you can't stream to them yet. And that site is really hard to share the domain because it's blocked everywhere. So may not be the best choice either. So if you guys know of anything else, but I got my eyes open too. I'm looking for any other platforms. We don't want to replace Rumble. We want to supplement Rumble. So if Rumble has a problem one day when we're doing our show, we can say, hey, the show's over here today. And you guys will be able to find it.
Yep. Agreed on all points.
On all points. So see, that makes it easy. You're a great co-host. All you say is, yes, Rob, you're great. You're wonderful. My ego gets bigger and bigger. My head's going to pop at some point, Louis. We had a great show on Friday. I don't know if you guys caught it, but certainly well worth going to have a look. Bruce Poppy was on fire. He was having a great time. He has a good space. I'd love to see that. All right. Shall we get into some news?
Please.
Oh, please. 20 minutes in. I think we ought to get to some news. Oh, you know what? Let's do this first. Let's talk about the website that you really need to go visit, screwbiggov.com. If you're not there, screwbiggov.com. Go visit it. Lewis's Telegram channel may be a little bit hard to find. Well worth finding. He's got a lot of great stuff in there. Click on the social media button. It'll take you directly to his Telegram channel. Lots of knockoffs, lots of fake ones. Sometimes it doesn't pop up in search because Telegram doesn't give you all the results, sadly. When you search, it gives you like the top 3, 4 that it finds. Not necessarily easy to find it, but there. Click on that social media link. You'll find it. Also, the swag button. Oh boy, the jackets, the embroidered jackets, and the Remember Your Oath swag is all there now. Everything's on that one site. So if you click on the swag button, you'll be able to find that. Whew, good stuff. Lots of good stuff. All right. Here we go. Breaking today. Guess what? I am so bored with this. I can't even tell you the story because I'm so bored of hearing about it. Hunter Biden's business entity. A vehicle, Owasco. In one instance, Hunter and Joe Biden threatened a Chinese business associate, pay up or else. Sounds like the mob, doesn't it? What are we waiting for here, Louis? What are we waiting for? We want to see something happen.
It is the mob, and it's the deep state. So let's assume, because you have both people watching this program. You have people that think the world is going to end and the deep state's going to win, and then you have people think the white hat's completely in control, and you have knuckleheads like us that said the truth is probably somewhere in the middle.
Yep.
So the reality is, okay, so let's go with the white hats are completely in control. There's a lot of pundits out there and a lot of channels say the white hats are completely in control. So I'm on the phone virtually daily with a friend of a friend or somebody that physically is on the border. And I can tell you the white hats are not in control there at all.
Right. So
much so that we're going to have something I think fairly breaking within the next week that will just blow your minds. So I can tell you that 100% the white hats are not in control of the border. They're not. And if you say, oh, well, it's only right now. And I'm just going to flat out tell you, you have border patrol on both sides. You have the black hat border patrol and the good guy border patrol. So I'm not going to disclose too much more. I'm just going to tell you that's all fact. I can back it all up, and we're going to bring you evidence of everything I just said. So that tells you that the white hats are not completely in control. Now, do I think that they have done a lot and still are working really, really, really hard? Absolutely. 100%. The white hats are kicking ass and taking names. But ultimately, we, the people, will win this war. And that's that's the way it was meant to be from the beginning. I know you've been sold on another ideal, but that's exactly what is going to happen. We, the people, will win this war, but we have to ante up and kick in. And that's what we've been trying to motivate everybody to do for a long time. So in the next 2 weeks, Robert kind of has some insight in this. I will kind of try to be boots on the ground, helping exactly do what we're talking about, leading by example and getting you some information that's going to just knock your socks off. So there's a lot of good stuff happening, and there's a lot of craziness happening. And Robert's right. Like, when do we just get to see it? It's kind of both. We are seeing it. The problem is we're not seeing it disclosed from the entities that would wake up the normies. And I believe that's where the true frustration is. And the frustration is we know it, but we don't have anything to grasp and show our friends and family that don't know it. And we need to go, look, it's right here, right? And I know it's tough. It's slowly leaking out. It's leaking out of Congress. It's definitely leaking out. I think we're gonna talk about New Zealand. There's a lot of things that it is actually coming to the forefront now, guys. I believe that the good guys figured out a while ago that a massive disclosure would not get us to where we want to be. And their opinion is they have to acclimate everybody. I call it the reverse frog in the pot theory to get people to the truth. And I believe if it takes 4, 5, 6, 10 years, but then we have 1,000 years of peace and prosperity, was it worth it? And I'd have to say it was.
Clearly. I'm just looking at we have a Rumble problem today, but it's not on our channel. It's on the Grown channel. Denise set it up yesterday. And this is something that's been sort of happening. If you set it up a day before, people say, why don't you let us know the show is coming? We set up earlier. You set it up too early. Sometimes it doesn't fire. So today that channel did not fire. So it's one of those things. Rumble is not perfect. MedExam said, thank you guys for dealing with the technical issues. The content far surpasses any technical issues. So we appreciate that. Appreciate people who understand that we have to go through. So you had brought up that there were white hats and black hats in the Border Patrol. That is the same thing that we're hearing about the military. The military is loyal to Biden and half that are still loyal to Trump. I wouldn't say half is just a figure of speech. We don't really know what the breakdown is, but there's a contingent that is loyal to each party, each side of it.
Yeah, well, the good news is I believe, let's try to play with the percentages a little bit. I believe there are maybe 50% outright that shows their loyalty to Trump, and 50% may show their loyalty to what they think is the existing president. Let's just use that as a number. But the reality is there's not one that is pretending to show their loyalty to Trump, where there probably is tens of thousands of people. Number would be a lot more on the good side. And that's really huge.
A lot of them are I'm not going to say this, but I don't mean it to be disparaging. They're robot-like. They take orders and they don't question. They just do what they're told to do, right? That's how they're trained. Is that a fair assessment?
Oh yeah, I mean the reality is not just the military. If you go to college, that's how you're trained. If you work in corporate America, that's how you train. If you went to public schools in the last 20 years, that's how you're trained. If you work in the medical industry or any corporate 1,000 business, that's how you're trained. So yeah, absolutely, the military would be the role model for that, and they do create robots. Now, from an operational military tactic standpoint, you need that. You have to have that. You can't have people going rogue. They all have to be a well-oiled machine going in the same direction. So I get it. There has to be some type of autonomy and communication, though, where you can question your superiors without getting in trouble. And that's fine if you don't want to question them in front of other, of course, because you don't want to ruin the morale. But there should be something where you can do it, and that does not exist in the military very well. You get shut down hard. So it's all very interesting. I think it's all changing though, and I know this is my rose color here. I wish these were rose color. This is yes, that's right, Sonny. These are my rose colored glasses. I do see that the future is bright, but I do see a lot of dark before the dawn, and it's just we're going to talk about some things and the way some things I'm seeing are lining up. You just got to be calm. You just have to be calm.
You do, and it's not easy. And this explains why Lewis and I both are not in the corporate world. We're not able to fit into that mold. We kind of broke the mold very early in life, and I always describe myself as chronically unemployable. It's just like, I'm sorry, it's not going to work. So we have those people who are the rogue ones, and we are hard to control. We really are, because we think for ourselves. We have our own direction. I know a lot of people who watch this show are the same way. They resonate with us because of that. They think outside the box. box. They will not just take orders and, okay, you want me to put on a mask? Oh, now you want. There's a lot of people here who are not like that, and we need that. Then that's really it's to me it's the American spirit, right? And if you look at this country, how this country was founded, it wasn't founded by robots. It was founded by the entrepreneurial people, the people who were thinking outside the box, the ones who were willing to take the risk, right? And build something different, because this model that we're using under this Constitution is unlike anything else that any country has, right? So different.
Yeah, if you, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution, to me, are influenced by God. And I'm talking pre 1871 Constitution for you guys that are really in touch. So I think it's pretty extraordinary what has been written for us, but the way they've been manipulated, and sorry to shock everybody, just the way the Bible's been manipulated, right? It's all been manipulated for the cabal. So this is why I'm working on a film. It's not, the working title is America the Greatest Psyop, but I don't know if the final title will be. But we are really the greatest psyop here, because we have this beacon on the hill mentality, but it's nothing that's really going on underneath the surface. So again, though, I really think we have this. The people need to unite together, not say like there shouldn't be one patriot that's not on the same page with another patriot. You may have idiosyncrasies and little delineations of what you think, which is great, because that's what makes us all wonderful. But the goal should be crushing the cabal, getting rid of most of control mechanisms, not just government, but most control mechanisms, and having our freedom to enjoy life and prosper with healthy food, healthy air, and healthy ideals. That's it. And the reality is, if the Patriots can take away their agenda and get on that, and that's what we're going to create with Remember Your Oath. By the way, we're testing the app this week. So if you guys want to test the app, it's just about done. Go to my Telegram page and click on, there's a part that says talking about testing the app, and I'll send you a special download so you can download the app and test it. But we're almost there. But when I say almost, it could still be a year, right? But we'll talk about a little bit later the 2024 election, because I do have some concerns.
I was going to lead with that today.
Okay, real quick, Robert. Yep. I'm sorry to interrupt. Just before I forget, first, let's give a big, huge happy birthday to Natalie Poppy. She's part of the Screw Big Gub team. Just a wonderful, wonderful person. And as most of you know, because you're in chat talking about it, Bruce Poppy is going to have surgery in the next, I think it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, right?
It's supposed to be minor surgery, but let's pray for him. So happy birthday, Natalie. Pray for Bruce. And then just so you know, guys, I see some people saying that you hit the like button multiple times in Rubble to help us out. I appreciate that, but that actually defeats the purpose, because if you actually, when you track it, let's say it says 100 and you hit it, it'll go to 101. And if you hit a 101 again, it's going to drop down to 100. So you literally are
turning it on, turning it off is what you're doing. Liking it, unliking it, yeah, it doesn't help.
Yeah, you're unliking it, which could also affect. So just hit it once, guys. If you're concerned that it's not going up, it's part of Rumble's mechanism. You just have to hit refresh, and then suddenly you're going to see that the likes are going through the roof. So, for example, my screen right now, it shows 25 thumbs up. If I refresh it, it's actually 108 thumbs up already.
Yeah, mine shows 17. 17 thumbs up. But when I click like, then it'll show me the real number. It'll update that one time, but it won't keep updating. And this is one of the things you look at a company like Rumble, right? To manage a little thing like likes across tens of thousands of videos, they're not going to update that in real time. It takes too much bandwidth. So what they do is they conserve bandwidth by only updating it when you refresh that page, right?
Yeah.
So these are kind of the games that they have to play as a growing company. At some point that won't be the case, but for now that's where we are.
Yeah, and for everybody here, we know we get attacked, and it's okay because we get it. So, giving an example, we started this news program, and we get very high ratings on this news program. So we're very thrilled. We keep hearing all these new people. I've never heard of you guys before. I love your news program. Yet, our numbers of what they call followers are exactly the same as they were 3 months ago. like hasn't even it, and
Hardly moved. Yep.
it's gone up by 100 and dropped by 100. So
Yep.
that we know there's gains in there because if our news program is so well received, how we're getting emails and texts and all these new people seeing they're watching it, our numbers should be skyrocketing. But so is it upsetting or frustrating on our side? It can be if you take it personal, but I thank God to you viewers. You keep reminding us, well, you must be over the target. So we're going to go with that.
I love that. That's a good way of looking at it for sure. Hey, there's some activity happened and drones launched from Yemen since October the 7th. Plot thickens though.
Well, it does. So there's something called the Houthi rebels. I believe they're in
The
Yemen,
Houthi rebels, right? Hmm?
and the challenge
Houthi, right?
is
You got it right. Houthi. Yeah.
the challenge that we have is they're okay. The perception is that they're rogue, but being drawn into wars, unfortunately, the the deep state powers that be of the United States and other so-called allies drew us into the war. You go do some history on Pearl Harbor, it'll blow you away. You go the Tonkin Gulf incident in Vietnam. There was actually two of them. Most people think there were one. Those were U.S. Controlled so-called attacks. One was actually fake that drew us into the war. So we have to be very careful that the deep state isn't in charge of paying these Yemeni Houthi rebels to attack our own ships. Happened before, guys. 9/11, right? So it very well could be an inside job because I believe the only card the deep state has left with Robert and I in the show, that you got to let everybody know that that is what's going on here. It's perception versus reality.
So the Houthis are funded by Iran. Who's funding Iran? How many billions did we send them? And
Oh,
you know that money went. That money went to fund these
real
guys.
quick, real quick. Sorry, Gonzo. I didn't say Yemen is rogue. I said the Houthi rebels could be rogue. Words matter.
Yep.
Sorry.
So that happened on Sunday. It started to pop. I started to see that about our military ship there getting attacked, and apparently it's been happening. This is not the first time. It's been happening a little bit more. And then there are unconfirmed reports. So I'm going to say that clearly it is unconfirmed, but I've seen it now in 3 or 4 different places that we have several thousand U.S. troops at Moody Air Force Base in Georgia have been called up and told be at the base by 6 a.m. packed and ready to deploy. Additional reports are indicating 7,000 troops are now on standby. So what that would indicate to me, if that is true, we don't know, it's unconfirmed. If it is true, that would indicate that we're all in on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, well, that's the goal, and I've heard that from multiple sources. Texted me, emailed me, and of course we saw them on Twitter and other platforms going on. Generally, I say, "Oh, this sounds like patriot parroting," which, by the way, is a real concern, guys. And this, I hope you
Right.
guys are become really, really aware of this. And what that means is somebody will post something, and the Patriots will go, "Oh, repost, repost," and everybody reposts like it's new information, and they're just parroting a narrative, right? We have to be very careful of that. We try not to do it here. In this case, though, based on the multiple sources and where it was coming from, this feels like it was not a parroted narrative. It looks like this is true, and that, of course, is a concern. I have heard talk also that all branches are going to start offering bonuses to try and bring in vets within the last 5 to 6 years to draw them back into the military. So, and these are all the steps they take before a draft. So
Wow.
we'll see where this goes, but we have to be aware of this.
Yeah, it just looks like if they're having all these troops at the ready too, it looks like they're going to use this ship being attacked as the reason to jump into a bigger conflict over there. And it wouldn't. Where would it be? It would be with Iran. It wouldn't be with Yemen. It would be with Iran, wouldn't it?
Well, because what they're trying to say is that, or the news media and the political narrative is that Iran is funding the Houthi rebels in Yemen. Okay, Okay, let's just assume that's true. Well, Iran is deep state, Biden's administration's deep state. They're on the same page.
Hmm.
This is what people don't understand. Netanyahu and Iran's deep state. I'm against war. Go figure,
Hmm.
right? Oh,
Yep.
that's funny. Wasn't Reagan and Trump the same way?
Hmm.
So it's very these little idiosyncrasies are very, very important. Now we have to remember the deep state cabal, the Freemasonic cabal, needs everything to be black and white. So as soon as you jump on and it's all black and white, you literally are giving them what they want. And the reality is there's so many shades of color that are involved here.
If you take just a few minutes, literally, and you start asking questions, and this is what I do naturally. I've always done this. I never lost that as a little child because child asks a million questions, right? Why is the sky blue, Daddy? Why is this? Why is that? I never lost that. I still ask a billion questions about things. When things are thrown across at my desk, I ask about it, and it's okay. So, what does it mean? Where does it fit? Is there more to the story? Is
Yeah.
there another piece missing here? Because you want to get those colors in between. You don't want the black and the white. It's too easy. That's what they want.
Yeah.
If it's black and white, you're not getting the whole story. But if you could see the full rainbow of colors in between, and rainbow in the positive sense, not the LBGT stuff that they've bastardized our rainbow of colors, 256 million colors between solid black and solid white on a computer. Anyways, probably more than that in reality. But you got to look for those. You've got to look for the other meaning or the other pieces that are missing that they don't want you to talk about. The
Yep.
challenge they have with us is we ask questions. Would you guys shut up already? Here's the story. Just take it. No.
No.
you know?
There's even so-called patriots that want us to be quiet.
Yeah.
Lewis, just go with the narrative. Just do it our way. Sorry, not going to happen.
If you do, you miss out on everything. And we want to make sure that we are really understanding this because we can't do what we do and bring you a show of any kind of quality coming to you not understanding it. I mean, we do an awful lot of research. I mean, literally, it's 8 hours of my day to do a show. It takes a long time. Look, come on, you're only on the air for an hour. Uh-huh. Yeah, but all the research that we have to do, and I would still love to do even more. I would love to do 12 hours, but and the show's not going to come on at 10 o'clock at night. Who's going to watch it? But just to give you an idea of how much process it takes to get all this done.
Yep, it does.
Yep. All right, San Diego. All of a sudden, we have this influx of massive group of military-age men from China. They invaded the southern border in California on Monday. So this is a large group of illegals, mostly from China, crossed through the open gaps on the border in Jacumba. Or I don't know how to pronounce that. Maybe I have to
Bless
ask.
you.
Yeah, Hot Springs, California. They're going to call it Hot Springs, California. According to Fox News reporter Bill Mulligan, more than 10,000 illegals have been encountered at the U.S.-Mexico border in the last Biden's open border invitation. What do we think about all these Chinese people coming up? That's interesting.
Well, I do like me some chow mein, so this couldn't be so too bad.
If they all open
Um,
restaurants, I'd be okay with it too, But
isn't it interesting though? So here's the question, and this is a serious question. Does everybody understand that Chinese is a closed off country? There's not people escaping China. Generally, when Chinese came here, they came on work and student visas.
mhm.
That's how they got here. And it's, from what I've heard, it's very hard to get a travel visa. And I don't know if you call it a travel visa, just so you know. But it's very hard to travel to the United States because they're very suspicious. And they're known for letting a lot of student visas come through. Why? Because those are spies for China.
Yep.
But suddenly, you can get there's hundreds, thousands. This is not an anomaly going into Mexico and coming through the southern border into the United
They're
States.
coming actually further. They're coming up to the Darien Gap, which is even further south.
Well, well, of
Panama,
course,
right?
I meant though they're going through
Right. They're
Mexico
going through Mexico, right?
to get to us,
Yeah.
which is which we have to really pay attention to this because knowing that China is a closed country, they're not escaping, in my opinion. They're willingly let them go out, knowing what is going on.
I want you to look at this picture. I'm going to put it up again. I want you to look at this picture. These guys don't look to me as if they haven't had a shower in weeks and been walking through the desert. They're all well showered, all
Yep.
clean, wearing good clothes, and look at their luggage. They got good quality luggage. Doesn't
Mhm.
look all beat up. It doesn't look all tattered like somebody's gone through the rainforest, right? So they're
No,
being brought in. Clearly,
they
they're
were
being brought in.
they were dropped off, and if you look at those, even more, they're pretty fit. By the way, look at the guy in the white and the black right next to each other, and the guy with the black on the other side of him. Those guys are fit.
Yeah.
Those are athletes. Look at okay. There's a guy in the black next to the guy in the white on your screen. It's the right side. Look at his thighs.
They're bulging.
Yes,
Yeah.
these are our fighters, not even fighting age men. These are fighters. Be
Wow.
aware, very aware.
Thousands of them coming in, and all of a sudden they're just well, we've had people from China coming in before, but apparently now there's this big group coming in through California today, actually. So
Well, the
interesting.
good news: big bullets still penetrate muscle.
True. True. All right, what's going on in the economy? Well,
It's awesome. It's wonderful.
People might be happy. Bitcoin busted through $40,000 today, and gold hit an all-time high of $2,135 an ounce because the Fed is signaling what? What is the Fed signaling? What do you think is causing that? The Fed's signaling that, hey, we're not going to raise interest rates anymore for a little while. We're going to take a break on that. Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah.
Speculation that the hiking cycle has already concluded gained momentum after Powell said that monetary policy is well into restrictive territory. That's clean English, isn't it? We know exactly what that. What 60,000 or just over 60,000 during that time?
Yep. Hit 60, dropped down to 26,000, I think it
Yep.
was. Uh, Here's proof that this is all bullshit. Excuse my French. Is silver is not moving.
Right.
So you guys know that's your key indicator right there. Where silver goes is where the truth lies. Okay. Except, and I put a caveat on this, they've been suppressing silver on purpose for a long, long time. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you that silver is being suppressed completely. If you look at the history of gold and silver, the real history of it, hundreds of years, they virtually used to go in tandem. They would go up, plateau, and go down altogether. You haven't seen that for years now.
Nope.
The reason why is because they're intentionally suppressing silver. It doesn't suddenly change, right? You don't suddenly have more gold available and more silver. It's no. You guys need to pay attention there. So watching the silver. When the silver starts to go up and really go up strong, that's when I believe everything's going to change. That's my belief system. Because I think silver is the true indicator of where we are.
It's still
Right?
hovering around 25, think an ounce, right? Silver.
It's under 25 still.
It's
Yeah.
under
Yeah.
25 still. Yeah,
Yeah.
25 is
And
they got to break through that.
and it should be, and it's broken through several times before and dropped right back down. But silver's the indicator. But we have to know it's all BS. Everything that we're seeing is BS, and the reason why is because based on the way that the economy has been run for years, the real estate market should have crashed last September, October. It did not. The stock market should have crashed last October.
It's being
It
propped
did
up.
not. It did not.
Yeah.
The tech companies should have just been disseminated. They were not. And gold and silver should go up and down in conjunction, which they do not. Which means there's manipulation in all of it right now. So it's just this is very, very, very interesting to look at in my opinion. So I really pay attention to silver more than I pay attention to gold, but that's me.
And not Bitcoin.
No, Bitcoin's a manipulated digital currency anyways. I would pay more attention to XRP and XLM, but could be Patriot mythology, by the way, like Ethan says. So we just have to take a deep breath and make smart decisions. And it's, I know, guys, it's very, very tough. I'm not excited about gold going up at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah. That's interesting because we always want to look at the indicators. Everyone's asking about the economy and what's happening. What's happening? Quick story: when I was a photographer back in the '80s and '90s or early '90s, when silver hit $5 an ounce, I remember the price of film doubled because film used a lot of silver in film. And I was like so mad, so upset about that. And it's like, even though silver dropped under $5 at that time, film never came back down. Once it established a new price point, it never came back down, never followed along with the price of silver. So
Yeah,
they got away with it.
That's the game, isn't
Yep,
it?
that is.
Yep.
UPS is raising rates, just so you know, raising their fuel surcharge, even though fuel prices are now what? Dropping. I've seen gas under $5 a gallon here in California. I
Yeah.
haven't seen that in a while.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's funny you'd say that. I was just having a conversation with somebody that the first time that I've really seen it in the last 30 or 40 years, the United States Postal Service, and we know this personally because we're sending out product, is less than UPS.
Yep.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on that just doesn't add up, folks. Trust, and we're trying to recalculate and readjust this ship all the time because it's just very, very, very weird. But what if all of this was to get us completely? Oh, this is so funny. I'm going to answer a phone call live here real quick. Hey, man, I'm literally live on air, but I thought this would be great to answer a phone call from you. It's good. So you have an update for me? Because I was just talking about my schedule live on air here. Okay. But so okay, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
We'll play this
Okay.
video while
I'll,
Lewis is
I'll,
taking this
I'll
call.
call you back a little later, but thank you very much for the update.
Only in California this could happen.
I'll be there, John.
I think the holidays would be sacred. Nobody would touch that, right? He stole his Christmas tree right off the top of his car. I mean, only in California that's going to happen. That's not going to happen anywhere else, right?
Works out for
Oh,
me, John.
craziness. Absolute craziness. All right. I'm going to take a quick little break here. I want to talk to you about
just took over
Neumi. Neumi's kind of fun. I'm going to lower Lewis's volume here just a moment. If you haven't tried it yet, now a lot of people have been writing to me and telling me they really love this product, Neumi NutraSwish. It's a glutathione product, and the glutathione is really important for your liver, helps you detox and helps you with oxidative stress, which we're all part of, because truthfully, we have stressful lives, right? And things that we run into, things we're breathing, you know, we've got pollution in the air, we've got pollution in our food, pollution in our water, right? So your liver's got to remove all this stuff from your system. And NutraSwish is a glutathione product that helps your body with detoxification, helps you with energy, certainly helps you with getting better sleep and recovering after a lot of physical exertion. I've had a lot of that over the weekend, so it's certainly helping with that. And as a side effect, you'll start to see people like Lewis. His hair has turned a little bit color. Look at Lewis's hair. Look at this. He was silver like me before. I love it. So I'd like you to give this a shot. They have some special packages, and they've got a new product called Neumi Hers for women, which helps with cramp relief and decrease bloating and hormone balance, minimize hot flashes, improve sleep, natural energy, increase libido, and certainly mood improvement too, which is phenomenal. And the reports we're getting of the ladies who are trying this new product, oh boy, they're loving it. So I'd like to invite you to go have a look and take a look at what they have to offer. It's really, really amazing stuff they've got. RenegadeMedia.tv/energy will take you right there, or scan that QR code, RenegadeMedia.tv/energy.
Energy.
All right.
So it's I've already put a note into the company to change the name of the product, and I think they should call it Hers for Him.
Hers for Him. I like that.
Because it makes the hymns have very nice life when the hers are on hers.
Happy wife, happy marriage, right? Happy life.
Happy life, happy life. So that call was important for me to take.
Okay, tell us.
So this is one of our boots on the ground people, and literally on the border, I won't tell you where, but I'll tell you it's a section of where the wall ends. And watching, we reported on this a little last week, but physically watching a war, uh, shoulder propelled grenades, uh, rocket launchers, everything you can imagine, tanks, yes, tanks, between the Sinaloa cartel and the CNJG cartel, which are the two largest cartels in Mexico. And they had an agreement before about territory, but now they're fighting for territory. And this is a very, very important part of the border for them, because this is a place in the border, which we will not discuss just yet, where people can easily get through. And I'm going to tell you right now, some bad people on the American side are letting it happen and getting paid very well for it, which I'll just say this, we will be disclosing this very soon. So that was a live report from the border. I can tell you, I'll give you a little, there's a picture of a hole in the Trump wall that was actually done by a rocket launcher. All I will say is we know the people that actually took the picture.
Wow. So you're telling me there's going to be a lot more coming up in the coming days. I'm looking forward to it.
These are big stories,
Yep.
and there's something special I'm going to do Wednesday that I can't disclose, and then next week. But there's big, very, very important things that are happening, um, and we hope to make a difference, and we will, and with the help of everybody watching, we're gonna. Without we the people, it's just not going to happen. And I'm getting to the point where I'm pleading with you, just get involved. You're talking about the kids and the generations to come need your help. Please get involved, make a difference. Go to rememberyouroath.com, and you can make a huge difference. And I'm not asking for donations, just so you're clear. Go to rememberyouroath.com and just learn about what we're doing here. That site is going to be amazing within the next couple of weeks. We're doing a lot of updates to it. The app, boom, 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 is in testing phase. If you want to test the app, it's there. It's ready to test. Just go to my Telegram channel. You're going to see app testing. Put your name in there, and we'll take care of you guys. We're right on the edge for we the people jumping in and just making a massive difference.
Can't wait for the app. It's not on iOS yet. I think you're starting with Android. Is that correct?
Yeah, but who knows? It could be on iOS at the same time, because we're working on it in the background, as you and I discuss all the time.
Yep.
There's such an astronomical amount of work that goes on in the background that people just don't see. They don't understand the money that's put into these things. They don't understand the time that's put into these things. And I get it. They just like, oh, this is cool. Let me click some buttons and use it, right? Just to give you an idea, I thought this app would be ready about 7 months ago.
Yep. Yep. And the
But
other challenge with apps is not just the development. The development takes its own time. And then all of a sudden, Android comes out with a new version, iOS comes out with a new version, and all of
right,
a sudden your app is now broken. And you go, what am I supposed to do? And it's always this battle between security and convenience, right? So the more secure something is, the less convenient it is. The more
right,
convenient it is, the less secure it is. Right. So it's
great
always
point.
this back and forth that you've got to play. And, iOS is always changing things. I mean, one of the reasons we couldn't use Restream on iOS is because iOS said, we don't want your camera being connected to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they just make these changes for security, makes it less convenient. So when you've got an app out there, these things are happening all the time. And if you're not on top of it, that means constant redevelopment, constant retesting,
It's
constantly
crazy.
being on top of whatever changes are coming up. And I got
Well,
to tell you, being in that world and having played that game, the messages that come to you as a developer from these companies, nonstop, 3, 4, 5 a day sometimes of changes they're
well,
making.
and here's the untold, and I'm going to say this because my wife is telling me, honey, she says, honey, you need to communicate this. It's all coming out of our pocket.
Yeah.
Oh, my wife and I are paying for this whole thing, tens of thousands of dollars that we don't have, right? Just so you're very clear. And I'm now working off of credit cards for we the people. I'm not telling you to give me money. I'm just letting you know. So sometimes some things slow down because we have to gather the money in order to pay the app developers, right? It's a very expensive process. The end result, though, is as long as we can live on a nice small plot of land and grow our own vegetables in the future and have our dogs run around, we're good.
Have a
Like
couple of chickens and a cow, you're all set, right?
yeah, I don't need to drive. I don't need to drive a Ferrari. Maybe I'll rent one. But so the point is, guys, it takes a lot. If you do want to help, somewhere I never know where my donation link is. I'm the worst at that. I think it's on Screwbig.gov, so that would be great. But we're doing our best, guys. But it's so close. We're getting very
Yep.
excited about this.
Yep. Hey, Lewis, all you need is a picture of you standing in a field, and you put it into Photoshop and you say add a Ferrari, and it'll put the Ferrari there for you. No problem.
Okay, perfect. I don't think that's the same experience, Robert, but from the techie that you are, I could see how you would enjoy that.
Not the same experience, but it's the optics that count, right?
Oh God, no.
Oh no! All right. Whistleblowers. New Zealand. Baboom.
Huge story.
Explosion. This is massive. So this is Liz Gunn. She's talking with Barry Young just before the whistleblower went viral. Basically, Barry is a database analyst, is what he is, and the news. You're going to see this in this news story. They're trying to say that he stole the information and took it and brought it somewhere else, when really his job is to analyze the database, and he was just seeing anomalies. And what he did, he made a little spreadsheet and he said, here are the anomalies that I'm seeing, and he reported on it. That's all he did. And now New Zealand is trying to do everything they can to cover this back up again, because he blew it wide open. As far as everyone in New Zealand knew, and you're going to see in this report.
I'm kind of with no words because this is we have to explain how this works. So if we can relate it back to the United States, and it's been told by many people. The last one I heard it from personally was Robert David Steele. 4:05 a.m. Eastern Time, the CIA sends the talking points to the media. Assuming that's true, we know that New Zealand is in a worse state than we are in the United States when it comes to how far along the Marxist agenda is. Would we agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so if that's a fact, this is everything is a state-controlled media, and I believe one of the problems that we as patriots do is we spend so much time exposing politicians when we should spend most of the time exposing the state-run media. And let me give my hypothesis on why I believe that. We know the politicians are dirty and bought off already. Okay. The general feeling, if you just look at any statistics on if we the people agree in general that Congress is doing a good job, it's always below 20%. Okay. Knowing that fact, they already don't trust politicians, but they do trust their CNN, their MSNBC, and their Fox News, and their local news. I would say we would be better served as patriots, we the people, spending all the time exposing the state-run media. And here's why. If you can turn one person to understand that the media is a state-run media, it's a complete psyop, it's a deep state game, one person, they now will be open to everything else. They'll be open to your bad politicians, and they'll be open to the deep state cabal, and they'll be open to a new world order, and they'll be open to 9/11 and the false flags and everything else. Just an opinion. But if we just, again, I've been trying to teach this forever, if we just hone on certain messages over and over in unison, and I think right now is the best time, and I'm going to say thanks to X, is exposing the deep state media apparatus. I believe this is the time right now. So if we all focus on that, and instead of trying to be all over the map, just hone on that, and or come the holidays and sitting down with family, just start exposing the media, their hypocrisy, and how they just go with the state-run message. That alone will turn everybody, in my opinion.
Well, you make a good point. I hadn't really thought of it that way, but you're right. I mean, the media is, the vessel, if you will, that's bringing this information out. And though that story that we just saw, that media is totally corrupt,
That's
totally
state-run.
corrupt. I
That's as
mean,
state-run as it gets.
it's no question. Remember, New Zealand was end up in prison. I think they raided his house yesterday. Was the video that we saw? They were there for like 5 hours or something to intimidate him, to intimidate his family. Same
Okay.
thing the FBI does here, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I've been there, but there's two major whistleblowers in New Zealand, and there's one person, and that was the lady you just showed. By the way, who's in hiding now? Um, those two major whistleblowers, their house was surrounded by police. Now, here's the part of the story that nobody's saying. By the way, I just saw Gordon. Thank you very much. My intention, I wasn't trying to drive donations, but it is very, very helpful. Gordon is in there and just made a donation, and I really appreciate that. That's very helpful. Thank you very, very much. I don't want to forego that when somebody jumps out and does that, and because we rarely get donations. Thank you. Um, so, anyways, what's very interesting about this story, and it's kind of the untold element, is a lot of. Do you remember one of the Coven members, Jacinda, the former president of New Zealand? It's gone now. So there's an apparatus, supposedly a patriot apparatus, that promised the truth tellers that they would have their back. That apparatus got elected and kicked Jacinda out of office. So the question is it just another BS game from the deep state that they made these promises, they put their people in and they do nothing about it? Or are they going to act to protect the whistleblowers and truth tellers in New Zealand? That's the real story, I think. That's going to be a lot bigger than this, is to see what the reaction of the new federal government apparatus is. I think it's very interesting.
And he said it right too. He said, we're not going to stop. And there was another person there in their government that said, we're not going to stop until we've arrested every one of them that was involved in this. So there's some tough talk
Jane,
coming out.
I'm sorry, Jane, you're right. Jacinda resigned. I just meant that she was replaced. I apologize.
Yep. Yeah. She resigned last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some other video I saw this morning of one of their MEPs or MPs, members of parliament there, who was coming out swinging. He says, we're going to go after every one of them who was involved in this, because they've seen the data now. It's out, right? It's all over X. If you want to find it, this guy's data is everywhere. You can see the spreadsheet. You could see what a normal death rate would be. We're no longer there.
So, Robert, can you do a favor? I know you do. Robert does a great job about this, by the way. Tell him what your website is real quick.
RenegadeMedia.tv.
Okay, and that will link you also to your Telegram. Is that right?
Telegram is Renegade Media, right.
Okay. So on Robert's Telegram, what he does is he takes news stories that we have here and he posts them on his Renegade, which is really cool. Can you do me a favor? Can you find one of those spreadsheets with all the stats on it and post it on your channel?
Yep.
And then I'm going to forward it and I'll do a little expose on that, doing the comparison between what the media says and what the truth is, because those are the little tidbits that people need in order to help wake up the normies.
Yep. I can do that. I actually did find that video earlier this morning, so I think I actually may have downloaded it. So yeah, I post most of the stuff we use and sometimes also the stuff we don't use. So there's a lot that goes on to that Telegram channel. And by the way, I find this really interesting. Charlie Ward, I think this past week, remember his channel got kicked off of Telegram, right? Shut down. 300,000 people, I think, were on it. It's a crazy number, really huge channel. He got shut down. Can't get the channel back. He goes to Dubai, to the office, where it's the listed office of Telegram. Shows a picture of him in front of the door. There's nobody there. The office is empty. Who's behind this thing?
Well, it's supposed to be Russians, but again,
The kids were Russian. The brothers are Russian, and they left Russia because Russia was after them. So they apparently moved to Dubai, as the story, and they're running it out of there. But they said they weren't going to stay in Dubai, but the office is still listed there. So who knows where they are?
right.
Yeah.
Well, that was the story.
Yep.
I, I'm going to say it. I still don't trust Telegram.
Yep.
I haven't trust Telegram from the beginning. My my Telegram channel has lost, I think we're at 22 to 25% in just the last 5 months.
Wow.
And it used to grow like this, right? So it's losing them like crazy. Something is weird. We all know that 90% of the people that try to find me on Telegram cannot find me unless they click on a link, and that's why it's on ScrewBigGov.
Right.
Something is still going on there. I don't know. I really don't know anymore. I don't know if these are the bad guys or the good guys doing it. I've had a lot of indication lately that the good guys are the one attacking us. Do we want to go into that? Probably not now, because that lights me up, right? And I've had a lot of people telling me on the side,
Yeah.
you're not being attacked by the bad guys. You're being suppressed by the good guys, and they're going to have to. They're as Ricky Ricardo said, they're going to have some splaining to do one day.
Well, you have some splaining to do. This is your story. You want to talk about this California's Governor Newsom for president story? This is kind of interesting.
Yes. So probably about a year and a half ago, we started talking about that they're probably going to be grooming Gavin Newsom for president.
Right.
Now, what's very interesting about this is there was a recent rule change in the DNC. In fact, you know what I'll do? I will read the rule because it's pretty short. I'm going to read the rule to everybody. Here's what the rule says. Resignation or disability of a nominee of the party for president or vice president after the adjournment of the National Convention, the national chairperson of the Democratic National Committee shall confer with the Democrat leadership of the United States Congress and the Democrat Governors Association and shall report to the Democrat National Committee, which is, get this is unconstitutional, which is authorized to fill the vacancy or vacancies. So let's translate this really quick. Joe Biden will go through the caucus. He will secure the nomination for the Democratic Party to be president. He will resign or be pushed out. And guess what? No vote is necessary. They can just say, we select Newsom to be running for president. According to their rules, it's legal. I believe it's unconstitutional. Now, why do I think this is a possibility? Well, let's think about this. What are the optics? Newsom, over the last couple of years, has been traveling around the world, meeting all the world leaders. Why has he been doing that? Xi from China came directly to Newsom first in San Francisco, as if he was already president. And then you have Newsom and DeSantis doing what looks like a presidential debate. They are grooming this cat, and they're getting the people ready to absorb Gavin Newsom as their nominee for president. It'll be Newsom versus Trump. They're hoping it'll be Newsom versus DeSantis because then they get two deep state actors there. But it'll be Newsom versus Trump. Trump will destroy Newsom, but it's very interesting. Now, this leads to this question. Do you think the White Hats are 100% in control? Well, they may be, because this may be all about exposing Newsom and so on and so forth. But let's consider this for a moment, and this is the fun conversation to have. I'm so glad you brought this up, Robert. Thank you. This is a fun conversation to have, and I haven't put this on Telegram. I've talked about this only with my wife, and she had an aha moment. What if the White Hats did take down the bad guys? Newsom being one, all of them. But the Black Hats, through their doubles, their masks, their CGI, we can go as far as cloning if you want, just replace their own bad guy with a new one. What if it's What if it's not the white hats replacing them, but the white hats are doing their job? We already explained on here earlier. Beyonce looks different. Kim Kardashian looks different. The Rock looks different. This Gavin Newsom dude, he looks different. Castro looks different. What if the only one they are really in control of would be Biden, which would be okay, but the deep state is always scrambling to put their next guy in there? Just an interesting thought. I thought a conversation that could be had instead of just buying the patriot narrative all the time. It's just something to look into. What if the black hats keep replacing their own guys? Because we know they have all this technology, and they I believe they rolled it out with Hillary Clinton in the past. So very, very interesting. So this would just be more indication to me that we're in a real war now. So people keep your rose-colored glasses on. I personally do believe the white hats are kicking ass, and the people are stepping up in droves now. We just need to keep going. So we won this. God's already won this war. So I believe that, and it's going to get probably a lot worse before it gets better. So what you say, Mr. Robert?
I say that you're probably right on a lot of those points. I'll tell you, Fulford had something interesting. Of course, Fulford, do you believe everything he says? Maybe not. But he had something in his newsletter today where he was saying Newsom is a droid and controlled by Disney, which is like, okay, that's a little bit hard. It's a hard one to swallow, but okay, I get the idea. And they say he said there was some kind of malfunction, and they cut the feed when it malfunctioned, and okay, I'd like to see the video, please. I didn't see anything, so it's like I can't really report on something like that because it's hearsay. But kind of funny that you brought that up. And he was also mentioning similarly that the bad guys will just keep replacing the guys we keep taking out. So we get rid of the real Newsom, but you put another one in. And get rid of him, you got another one. And they've got 3 or 4 standing by, ready to go at all times. So it's really hard to get rid of them. It's like whack-a-mole.
I'm glad to know I'm not on an island with this theory. So that's very, very interesting.
You're not on an island. It's been popping a little bit here. But here's a good question. Then do
pneumonia, like
pneumonia?
There's no Mo Hillary.
Whatever she had, all of a sudden, 2 hours later, she popped back out, and she's perfectly fine. And she was 12 inches shorter. How does that happen?
Well, that's what happens when you heal quickly. You lose a few inches.
You shrink, I guess. I don't know.
That's what I heard. You know what I mean? It's very, very interesting. So I've been saying this forever, and people should just look into this. From historically, like thousands of years back, leaders, emperors, Caesars, kings, they all had body doubles. All of them. So why do you think when technology has improved today that leaders wouldn't have body doubles today? Of course they all have. Donald Trump has body doubles. They all have body doubles. It's the dirty little secret that everybody should know by now. All of them.
Hey, good guys. Wait. How do I know? How do I know you're the real Louis Herms? I'm not talking to a double.
No, I'm not. I'm a clone, actually. In fact, I think, but last year I would think I was half reptilian from what I heard. Now I'm a clone, and that's why the hair changed for real, guys. Do not purchase Neumi. This is just a mask.
It's all a mask. It's all a ruse. All of it. How do you shop? How could you shop? Why would you shop?
Well, think about how many people go through the register at any one given time at a superstore like a Walmart.
This is a Walmart, yeah.
Yeah, by the way, this isn't the only one. There's Targets. There's a whole bunch of stores in California that are showing this. I believe, quote me if I'm wrong, Philadelphia also. And there's other places also.
Wherever the smash and grabs are happening, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is happening all over the place. So but what's really interesting about it, if you think of it, I'm a business guy, you're a business guy. There's a lot of business people on watching right now. Think about it. How many people go through a register at any one given hour, right? If those people are running around unlocking cabinets, can you imagine the manpower that it would take to do that? And the prices are going to go through the absolute roof. And it comes to a point where you just shut down your store. You just say, we're done. We can't do this anymore. And I'm not a fan of the Walmarts and the Targets and all that stuff. I'm just saying this is untenable for a lot of businesses. So again, though, this is a great wake up process. And I'm seeing everywhere liberals are saying, we don't like this agenda anymore. We're fed up with it. So if we had fair and free elections, this would bode really well for us for the future.
I'm a label reader. Do you
Uh-oh.
imagine being there opening up the cabinets for me?
Oh my God. They would be with you there for an hour.
Yeah, I
Just
don't
one
like this
customer.
one. How about let me see the one over here. It would be crazy. So,
Yeah.
okay, maybe that's why they put the kiosks in Walmart now as self checkout. But there's no theft there, huh? Throw
No,
something in the bag. Don't actually scan it. Who's watching?
amazing. Absolutely
Crazy.
amazing.
Yeah, it's just a. But it gets crazier. There's a story here that caught my attention. It was actually a couple of days ago. Sports Illustrated freaks out. It deletes evidence of all AI generated journalists writing AI generated articles. Oh boy, didn't know that was happening, did you?
Well, we did actually. we heard that AI was writing a lot of articles, so this is a very interesting story, isn't it?
Sports Illustrated has been busted using AI generated journalists to write AI generated articles and then freaked out and then deleted all evidence after one of their web devs dropped the dime on them. There's nothing in Drew Ortiz's author biography at Sports Illustrated to suggest that he has anything, that he was anything other than a human. And here's his biography. Drew has spent much of his life outdoors and is excited to guide you through his never-ending list of the best products to keep you from falling to the perils of nature. It read, nowadays, there's rarely a weekend that goes by where Drew isn't out camping, hiking, or just back on his parents' farm. The only problem outside of Sports Illustrated, Drew doesn't seem to exist. He has no social media presence, no publishing history, and even more strangely, his profile photo on Sports Illustrated is for sale on a website that sells AI-generated headshots. And it wasn't just Drew Ortiz either. The outlet had used multiple AI-generated journalists, according to a person involved in the creation of the content who asked to remain anonymous. After Futurism reached out to Sports Illustrated, the publisher, the Arena Group, all the AI authors mysteriously disappeared.
Wow. So here's the big question, Robert. Did the AIs write their own bios?
Yeah, they did.
That's the craziest. So they literally wrote a bio about their fake self
Yep.
to show people that they're real. I mean, it can't get any more wackier than this. That's a movie in
But
itself.
you wouldn't expect a publication like Sports Illustrated. Okay, Joe's Backyard Barbecue magazine, maybe, but Sports Illustrated, how do they think they're going to get away with this?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Cosmo magazine. Ooh.
Oh my face.
They posted this on their Instagram account last month. The popular magazine tailored toward the magazine that's tailored toward the vanity of naive young women recently shared instructions with readers on how to perform a satanic abortion ritual via its Instagram account.
What the heck?
What's it like to have a satanic abortion? For Jessica, a 37-year-old mother of 3 who received abortion medication via, get this, Samuel Alito's mom's satanic clinic. And I'll explain that in a minute. The experience was just very supportive, she opined. The magazine's Instagram post that went up just 2 days after the magazine published a piece on the Satanic Temple's abortion clinic, which was named after the mother of Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito in response to his penning of the majority opinion on Dobbs versus Women's Health, the case which overturned the longstanding precedent set forth by Roe versus Wade. So they call this thing Samuel Alito's mom's satanic clinic, where women can get abortion meds. Okay, how far over the line is this?
Wow.
I'm seeing it in the chat room. I think people. Who's throwing up?
It just amazes me. Now,
Wow.
here's the fact though, is most people don't know that every abortion done in a clinic is part of a satanic ritual. Now, I'm not saying the moms or whoever made that decision are part of it. But if you track back, they do accounting, a daily counting, and they have satanic rituals based on how many babies have gone through clinics and been aborted. And this is part of what the deep state cabal does, which is grosser than gross could be, right?
Yeah.
So the difference is they're just now publicly making a big deal and saying this is who they are, because they always have to find a way to tell on themselves. And it only takes one clinic to disclose this, because that's part of the satanic agenda, right? We need to disclose. Okay, so they disclose their wicked, I call it wicked karma, is intact now that they did that. It couldn't get any weirder.
Well,
But
you're right about the disclosure, though. I mean, we're in that period of disclosure. They're not hiding it anymore. I mean, to post that on their Instagram account, I mean, again, not a cosmopolitan, not a small publication, lots and
no,
lots of followers, you know?
but they have to. This is a good virtues versus evil spiritual battle right now, and good news, bad news. You have to pick side.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
bad news is that's why it's going to feel so icky and horrible, and it's going to get so dark before it gets light, because there's going to be a lot of side choosing. The good news is there's a lot of side choosing, so it's going to be very, very clear to the normies who's good and who's bad.
Yep.
Like, not yet, guys. We're not there yet. I know you're so frustrated because your sister, your mom, your dad, your brother, your kids are not there yet. The time will come. I believe 95% of the people will get there somehow, some way. And I'm affected. I've got kids that have completely disowned me because I'm what am I now? Because that's what they're taught that we are. So it is what it is. But the reality, we are winning. We just have to keep moving forward. But I believe that everybody is in the pick a side moment right now, and that's why it's going to get even weirder.
Yep. And here's what they do when we're winning. When you ask,
Okay, so let's again explain the game and how it's working. She's not lying. She haven't seen the reports,
she's deflecting. Yeah.
because they give her that out. They don't give it to her, and then the instruction to her is when something controversial comes up, you just say, "I haven't
I
seen the
don't know. Yep.
reports," and you say it's time to go. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Right? This is a strategic game. This is the way it's laid out. It's done exactly on purpose. So she's actually not lying. She hasn't seen the reports because they intentionally do not show her the reports, so she has that out.
She's siloed, right? So she gets what she needs, and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because they need to keep her what they call credible, so she can never be caught saying, "Well, you did know the report." No, no, they intentionally compartmentalize. This is what the Freemasons do so well. They compartmentalize and they put her in a little box, give her just enough information to get out the narrative that they need to get out. Now, she knows what's going on, and she knows she's evil, and she knows the administration is evil, and she knows what she's doing is bad and wrong, but she's technically not lying. She does not have the information.
Yep. Crazy. Wow. Great show. Went a little bit long today, but thank you guys for hanging out there. Lewis, thank you for being part of this. You brought a lot of value to the table. I always see you do that. Never disappoint in terms of what you bring to the forefront here, and always good at your analysis and the way you look at things and the way you can deconstruct the stories that are popping up. And boy, what a day. And there's more coming. It's not over yet, right?
Yeah, more coming, and I think we have a news stories building for tomorrow already. So it's going to be a very interesting week, and then hopefully I have a surprise for everybody Wednesday. We'll see.
Cool. And I'll be here all week with you, and Friday with Bruce. And we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Same channel, same time. Thank you all for watching. We love all of you, and we appreciate you. And thank you for your donations and your support and your likes and your